What it look like, what it be like, what it do, YouTube? This is V coming at you to do a review on the new addition to my EUC collection, and that is the Gotway MTen3. This 3-inch wide, 10-inch wheel with the 512 watt battery, 800 watt motor packs a powerful punch. Now, before I get into doing my review on my Gotway MTen3, I do want to give a shout out to Free Motion for flying this wheel out to me so I can get it in time for Christmas. I have had nothing but excellent service from Free Motion. They are by far the cheapest distributor company of these wheels that I've come across. They'll beat any manufacturer's prices, and they also have a wide selection of EUCs and scooters. What they don't have, they are willing to get for you, and still at a discount. I'm not an affiliate, nor are they endorsing this video. Because I'm an enthusiast and a collector of these wheels, I know it can be very expensive. So I'm always on the prowl for good pricing for these wheels, and Free Motion have really stepped up to the plate and have met my needs. So with that being said, if you guys are ever in the market for purchasing these wheels at a pretty decent price, check out Free Motion. I'm quite sure you'll be satisfied. So with that being said, let me get into this video. Now, I will say this about the Gotway MTen3. By far, hands down, the MTen3 is the most versatile, fun wheel that you can have in your arsenal of EUCs. I have had great fun in riding this machine. As you can see, I've only had it since Christmas. It's what, second week, not even the second week of January, but you can see through the scratches that I've been riding and putting this wheel into riding this wheel and testing it to its limits. The MTen3 is one of those versatile wheels that basically, if you don't know how to ride, you will know how to ride. If you don't know how to do tricks, you will know how to do tricks. What was going through my mind when I did this jump? The grass was wet, the ground was wet, my feet was wet, the pedal was wet, and this could have ended right there, really badly. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's low center of gravity, the thickness of the wheel for such a small wheel, that you basically can pick up riding, going backwards, turning. Turning on a dime, stopping on a dime. Whatever your heart's desire, you basically will be able to accomplish that on this particular wheel. It does say the wheel comes in at 22 pounds. I'm not going to argue that. I have not weighed it. Also, it says this wheel can go 23 plus miles. I will say this, I did not want to or was not trying to push the envelope beyond 25 miles. I was trying to get it up to 25 miles. Lo and behold, I got this wheel up to 30. I actually have a video which I will post to show the day I actually got it up to 30. I used the EUC World app to track my my speed, and it came in just above the 30 miles per hour range. I don't know the error in the speed with the EUC app, but it did say 30 plus 4, I believe it was. I have my EUC World app. Let's see. Just how fast I can make it go. You heard the beep. Okay, let me slow down. Also, charging time. It says charging time takes about 2.5 hours for this particular wheel. It took me every bit of 2 hours. That's not with a dead battery. That's I want to say I was within the 15-20% range what I had left. So I charged it from that 15 to 20% up to the 100%. Also, as far as the distance, I believe it says the distance on this wheel can go with 30 plus miles. The jury's still out on that. I have yet to take it out on a full charge to see how long or how far I can go on the battery. I mean, technically I did do it, however, it came in shy of 30 miles, but then again, I was doing a lot of speed running with this wheel. Again, I wasn't trying to, but it just so happened because I was just having a blast with this wheel. Now, because this wheel is squirrely and there's a low center of gravity, there are going to be the margin of error of you falling, or not so much falling, but coming off the wheel. For me, when I first stepped on this wheel, it felt like it put me in a mindset when I was back in physical therapy and I had to balance myself on a platform that was on a ball-shaped balloon. So it feels like, for me, it felt like I was riding on a rounded tire, not so much a normal tire, if you will. So it felt a lot more squirrely, a lot more unforgiving. Now, I will caution you, stepping off the MTen3 is like no other EUC. There is a method to the madness because of the small diameter of the wheel. That is it's a thick wheel, it's a 3-inch wheel. Stepping off this machine, and I have a video, stepped off wrong and went to grab it, and it's like a machine with an attitude. It's almost like a small wheel complex. It's really hard to explain, but this wheel it reminds me of the Segway 1S1, where the tire will continuously spin and it'll be flopping around. Yeah, and I caught my ankle a couple of times with this wheel stepping off improperly, because it will shoot out from underneath you. Because I stepped off with one foot and it just got away from me with the other foot. Lucky it's low to the ground, so therefore I didn't have to face plant or go backwards. For the purposes of this demonstration on how to dismount the MTen3, I'm going to use my Gotway MSX. Now normally for the larger diameter EUCs that we are accustomed to riding, when we are riding them and we dismount, we tend to, with the lead foot, we take the lead foot off the pedals and we apply more pressure or weight to the foot that's left onto the EUC, causing the EUC to lean up against our calf muscle. However, with the MTen3, you cannot do that, because if you do, the MTen3 will flop the other way. With the MTen3, it is a little squirrely bugger, as you can see. When you are riding the MTen3, there's not much of your leg in which the machine can rest on. It's smaller all the way around. So when you're riding the MTen3 to dismount, it is best that you transition the weight on your lead foot so you're not having a lot of pressure or weight to the foot that's left on the pedal. That way it will prevent the wheel, the MTen3, from doing one of these numbers, and I've done it plenty of times where it just will shoot that way. Because again, with the larger diameter wheels, we tend to rest the larger diameter wheel frame up against our calf muscle while we dismount. Whereas with the MTen3, if you happen to do that, it will do one of these numbers and spin out of control. As I said, I've done that a couple of times. So it's best that when you dismount with the lead foot, that you try to when you do that transition, you try to put as much weight onto the lead foot and as much pressure, less pressure on the foot that's left on the pedal. That way, you're not having your wheel, your MTen3, just spin out of control. I've also, again, I'll stress tricks, learning how to do tricks. If you don't know how to do them, you definitely will learn how to do them with the MTen3. It's a lot easier doing them with the MTen3. Again, I don't know why that is. Maybe because it's so low to the center of gravity is so low to the ground that you're more apt to pick up a lot more quicker. The apprehension isn't there to try different things. Also, it has that low end torque, and it reminds me similar to the 16X with the takeoff speed. I mean, it will go, but you got to be real careful with this little wheel, because you will get that, how should I say, the shakes, the shimmies, or the wobbles, if you will. What else could I say about this wheel? Now, I did take it out because we had it several days of rain, and I was anxious to try different things with this wheel to see just how it would fare in certain conditions. And here I'm riding down and up a hill of wet grass that has a 20-degree angle at its highest point. I would not advise anybody to ride a 10-inch wheel in the rain on wet grass. Just saying. This is a mixture, this substrate here is a mixture of gravel, sand, and dirt, and some potholes. Noteworthy of mention, anytime the MTen3 was ridden on any type of substrate that was not consistently flat, like the gravel, the grass with divots, the pedals of the MTen3 tip forward. Now, I have not experienced it with any other EUC, but then again, since this wheel is small in diameter, that was more than likely the reason why it was so pronounced. bunch of wet gravel. You might as well say pebbles, wet pebbles. So they're a little bit bigger than gravel. Now we're back in mud. And I would by no stretch of the imagination advise anyone to do what I did in the rain. The petals are small, they're like 4 inches or so, 4.5 inches in length, and which makes it, how should I say, not conducive to riding in the rain. Your feet can slip, and that was sort of kind of crazy of me, but nonetheless, I did it. But one thing that I can say about this particular MTen3 that previous MTen3s don't have, and that is the little button here to disengage the wheel. Now, we all know in the EUC community, short of the, I want to say King songs, who they have the, and now the Gotway Nicola, where you have you're able to disengage the wheel when you go to lift them. Now, again, this particular MTen3, unlike other or previous MTen3s, the wheels continue to spin. Gotway fixed that issue by having a button where you can depress and lift it up and the wheel will not spin. However, one thing about this button is you have to press the button in order to disengage the wheel. If you forget to disengage the wheel prior to picking up, the tires will spin and the button will basically be of no use. Although I get it, and I'd rather have it than not, it's sort of kind of, to me, because my fingers are not really that big, and when I have my wrist guards on it, it makes it a little complicated to actually grip the button, to press it, to lift it up before I disengage the wheel. But nonetheless, I'm not going to argue the fact it's there, I can use it, it's a safety measure, and I applaud Gotway for making the adjustments nonetheless. And I am enjoying my MTen3, and again, I highly suggest that anyone who is an enthusiast or just interested in having an MTen3, this is one of the wheels that everyone should have in their collection. With that being said, deuces.